Okay. Start? I have to take off my intermission screen? Is it going to do it for me? Yeah, I don't know if I trust you. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to Twist Gaming. We are here live at Origins 2019 in Columbus, Ohio, and I have my friend Rainer here with me. Hi, Rainer.
Hi.
And I also have a very special guest joining me for this segment, Edward from Heavy Cardboard.
Yes.
Hey, how y'all doing?
So, Rainer, what toys have you brought for me today?
We have brought today Sierra West, which is a game that is coming out at Gen Con. In fact, they were so kind to bring this directly in their luggage from the factory.
Oh, wow.
So that I can have it here and show it.
That's very nice of them.
So, yes, so Sierra West is coming out at Gen Con, designed by Jonathan Pack-Hanton. And we have I'm going to go over in slightly reverse order. I'm going to show you first this the setup here.
Okay. You let me know when you're ready to go over to the board cam.
Yes, we can go over to the board cam.
You ready?
So this right here that you see is basically the central setup. So you have a board in the middle, you have a mountain, and then you have a board here on the side. Now what you would also have is in your player color you will have a marker. You're always going to have a wagon, but there might be other markers as well.
So Rainer, back this up, second time for the slow crowd. What is Sierra West high level?
It is an action programming and worker placement game where you have to manage your actions, you have to manage your resources, and you have to make sure that you chain the things, the actions and the things that benefits that you get from them in order to do a little bit of deck building, but mostly just maximizing your points.
Thematically, what am I doing?
We are explorers on the American frontier. We will be digging for and acquiring resources. We will be building buildings. We are moving our wagon across the plains in order to be successful on the American frontier.
He makes it sound so simple, yet having played this at Gamma, a lot thinkier and a lot deeper than at first blush. Like the artwork belies it a little bit.
Really?
And I just wanted to show this setup here because this is not gonna. I just want people to see kind of what this looks like because now we're going to wipe this away from here.
But I saw how much time it took you to set that up.
Right?
You had your trees lined up nicely.
Yep. Oh yeah, get a ruler out and align them all, make sure everything all nice and purdy.
Okay, so now we get into actually kind of what you do and how you play the game.
Okay.
So the core of the game is really you have a small deck of cards. Everyone's going to have 8 cards. And then you get, depending on which module you're playing, and right now we have it set up for the Apple Hill module. Okay. You get another card that is associated with that one. And on your turn, you always have 3 cards, and you're deciding. You can see here how on these cards you have 15 different icons. But you don't get to
Okay, so this is a green screen, so it's not going to be fantastic, but we just really kind of want to show off.
There you go.
That works. So all of those, the transparent spaces are green spaces, and then you have tan spaces, and each card has 5 of those spots. Okay. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to now, first of all, build your action spaces. So here on the board, you will be placing these cards in order to form 2 different tracks. So you're going to have a tan track and a green track. And you know that you've set this up correctly if you have a little mountain here that forms at the top. Then you have 2 workers that you can now move across here in order to activate these spaces, to collect resources, to do buildings, things that you would normally do in a game, right? You would gather your resources, you build things, and so forth. And this is what I think Edward was saying, that okay, so far so good, right? We know what we're used to this. We're gonna have our
However, the order in which activations activate from left to right, top to bottom, or bottom to top, a little bit here, a little bit there, This is where the order in which you place your cards.
Yeah.
You're sitting there looking at your cards, going, "I could do no that doesn't. Wait, I can. No, that's not. Wait, I can. So yeah, sound about right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
And this is where we're so we have now just put down. So we have 2 tracks and I have 2 workers and they can move from left to right, and take. So I could go here. I would get 2 stone, and now I can come here and this would let me either build something or acquire one of those cards that were set up.
Okay.
If I have previously moved my pioneer up the mountains. Okay, so maybe I shouldn't go there. Maybe I need to actually use the movement to get him up there, but the card is actually higher up, so I need to come over here, and so forth. So now you get into the engine of the action that you have, the cards that you have played out. You need to make sure that you get the benefits in the right order in order to take the actions that you need to move your wagon forward, to progress up the mountain to the cards, because only the cards that are actually face up at the top are the ones that you can acquire.
So not only are you having to worry about placing the cards in the order in which you want, it's actually activating the actual icons in the order that you then
need them to.
Right.
And some of the spaces also have, like this one right here, that has there's a red border around that bear icon. That means that's a space that I cannot avoid. Everything else is optional. I don't have to collect the stone and so forth. But that bear, I can't progress past that spot unless I deal with the bear. So I can either, in this case, if it's on this spot here, this indicates I have to pay something, right? So I can throw a rock at it, so I get rid of a stone, or I can use a stick to try to scare it away, or I basically give food to the bear. And now I was able to progress past
I feel
it.
like this is not excellent real life survival strategy skills with the bear.
No, probably not.
Yeah, okay, just
No, we don't
sure.
endorse this.
I
type
don't have
of
to outrun everybody. I just have to. No,
Yeah.
all right,
Outrun the
yeah.
slowest guy. But so when you're talking about not being able to avoid this bear space, when you're laying down your cards, then inevitably the spot that's in front on top of it is the spot that you're going to have to show as well, right? Like,
yes.
Okay.
And now after this spot, so maybe I wanted to come here because this is now cheaper because this spot over here would cost me more in order to avoid the bear. But if I don't avoid the bear, I don't get to do those spots at all. And unless my workers make it to the end here, I cannot assign them to the worker placement spots at the top of the cards.
Well,
which is in these ones here. I mean, this is where you can go, and that's how you progress on the tracks. So this one here, I pay a wood and 2 food, and I can progress on this track.
okay.
And which is how you're going to score them victory points at the end of the game.
So there's really not a whole lot going on here. It's really pretty simple.
Yeah.
Feel
See,
like
and this is the epitome of a game with not a ton of rules overhead, but deep decisions, meaningful decisions, which is the core of what we do. So yeah,
right. Like I'm staring at it, thinking of all the moving, everything's moving, and how you have to get it. This is
and the nice thing is, I mean, you know how in a game you will acquire a building, and it's like, okay, whenever I collect a stone, I get 2 stone. Well, here it's a little bit different because the buildings that you acquire, you need to actually set aside your worker to work at that building in order to give the other worker that benefit.
So are you limited to 2 workers though?
Yep.
Oh.
And I can't have him go through here first and then he either works over here first to give a benefit, and then he can come and do his thing.
Oh, so he can come back from there.
He
and
can
redo
come back
his
from there,
track.
but he has to do this first before
Helps out his
the track.
friend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, like you were saying, Edward, I mean, it's in the end, once you play it, you quickly get a feel for the flow of it, right? You have 3 cards. You have to decide which actions, and normally you don't have to decide everything. You have to focus, okay, what am I trying to do this turn, given the cards that I have? Am I trying to... Maybe I should move up the mountain to acquire a card that I can then use next turn. Or maybe I should collect some resources to build a building or something like that.
Right.
So it's not an overwhelming amount of information at each time, but every turn is really important.
Impactful.
Yeah. And the thing that is really neat about this game is that as the cards come off the mountain, some of them they have, I mean, a lot of them look just like normal mountain spaces, but some of them, in this case, in this scenario, we have apples that will come down. There's a common apple market. The cards that you acquire from the mountain have ways for you to spend the apples for different benefits and so forth.
So all of those cards that were out here, and it's funny. It's like I'm pitching the game with
Right?
you. I'm not,
No,
but no, you have the mountain spaces out here, and as these mountain cards are available, you are acquiring
Yep.
those cards
And that
into your tableau.
also acts as the timer of the game, because once this track is filled up, then that will trigger the end of the
So
game.
so those are only the apple cards that are going to go down to
Yes.
that bottom row. So,
So,
there's a
so the
set
more
number.
the more cards that we acquire from the mountain, then the more of these will fill up, which will also improve that, especially as I move my wagon forward, I have access to all of the previous spaces for acquiring the apples from there. But at the same time, we're getting closer to
And
the
so
end of the game.
it's player driven in a sense
Yeah.
that all the players, if they're racing through getting the cards off the mountain and putting the apples down, it's going to be a much
Triggering
quicker
endgame.
game.
Yep.
Right.
Now, this is one of the 4 modes that you can play this game.
Of course it is.
Right. Yeah, because there's not enough there, right?
So everything that you see, and basically how it's set up, is the same regardless. But this whole mountain that we had of cards,
Right.
that is different for each of the 4 modes that
Okay.
you play. You could play the boats and banjos, where instead of
was
Come on, you thought it too, didn't you?
So perfect.
instead of apples, well, now we have
Deliverance.
a way
You
where
got a
we
purty
can
mouth.
pan for gold. We can go fishing in the river and get fish, and we have a fish market where we can sell.
This is the one that I played actually at Gamma.
Yep.
Okay.
That Jess and I played with the guys at Board and Dice at Gamma.
Or
Okay.
speaking of banjos, there are, just like the bear had that red spot that you can't move past. Well, now there's a spot where one of your workers, he really wants to listen to music. And he will not progress unless his companion comes and plays the music.
I love.
Play me a tune.
I love how much that that the red icons, like the parallel between one red icon being a bear trying to murder you and the other one being somebody needs to really listen.
Yeah,
to
be
a
like,
band.
nah, we're not leaving until I hear some music.
Yep.
The end. Not moving.
And we have a gold mine where you can go. And again, the way you play the game is the same. It's just that now, instead of the fish, well, now there's a mine that we are in. And sometimes you have to make sure they have the lantern before you can go there. And
But it's not just theme, though,
No.
that changes.
I mean, it's
the actual
right.
mechanisms in the game
Yep.
actually change.
your
depending on
focus and how the pacing of the game. But you don't have to relearn the game between. It's just you play the game one way, or where certain things are focused. For example, in the Apple Hill scenario, this is very much the focus of the game because you have 5 tracks here.
Okay.
Whereas in the gold mining one, well, now there's gold. In the other one, there's fish and so forth.
Okay.
And of course, what's the Wild West without some bandits?
I gotta see these. Oh, look how cute.
Yep.
I like how it's the Wanted Dead or Alive with the dice in the back. So how do the bandits come into play here?
So basically, there will be bandits that you can. So you have bullets and so forth, and you can be the sheriff. You can address them and so forth. So it's all Western themed things. Whether that is you're trying to settle the frontier, or you're fishing and panning for gold, mining and so forth. So it's just there are different ways of playing it, different things to focus or deal with, things that will come up and hamper things for you and so forth.
This is really
So-
exciting.
And one other thing, again, I feel like I'm
Yeah,
pitching
no, it's
this
good.
for you, but you have the different modes, right? So this is one of the modes. That's another of the modes right there, and another. So you can see the rules overhead for the difference between the different modes is minimal.
Yeah.
To be able to learn the differences between them.
Like
And again, I mean, at Gamma we played directly the one with the
Banjos.
Yeah.
And, yeah. Right. And so, I mean, I feel like if we were to sit down and play, say, the Apple Orchard one, it would take 30 seconds to go, a minute maybe to go over, hey, this is
What
what's
the-
different,
This is what's
da-da-da-da-da.
different, yeah.
Okay, yeah, we can go ahead and get into it.
Yep.
And the only reason I'm bored with it, if you will, is having played it, I was like, the artwork looks a little cartoony, right? And everything, and so you think a little bit more
Light.
Yeah, a lighter game, but very much not. But it's also not to the point to where you're agonizing. This isn't an Arkwright level of game at the same time, right? This is even a step lighter, I would say, than some of the stuff like Teotihuacan and stuff.
Speaking of that.
Oh, what a good segue. You like that?
Good.
It's almost like I do this. So, well, is there anything else you want to talk about for?
No, I mean it's. I think we covered a lot, and there will be videos. I think I know some people that will have some. Videos
I've heard that there's a rumor of one coming in next couple
perhaps
weeks.
teaching and playing of
Possibly
this.
there may be. Yes.
Who might be making a video like that?
I don't know. Could be Heavy Cardboard. Check it out over on heavycardboard.com or on YouTube. There you go. All right, so moving on. So this was what I would say definitely one of the biggest hits of last year.
I would definitely agree. So
the base game?
The first game that I saw, Rainer, with you guys was with NSKN was when we played Dragon's Gate College. And then I feel like this came out right after it. And I enjoyed Dragon's Gate College, and that had a lot of moving pieces. But then when this came to the table, it was just like, this has got a lot of stuff in it. No, this has got a lot of stuff in it.
I saw Teotihuacan for the first time the previous Gamma, and ever since then, I was telling people the next negative thing I hear about this game from folks will be the first, and that was in February, and with the lead up going to Essen, and you guys sold out the first day at Essen with Teotihuacan. Just fun to say.
Yeah, it is.
And now you have the expansion, so tell folks.
This one, just walking up here, I was stopped twice. Because people are like, wait, is this out? No, I'm sorry. Can I buy it? No, I'm sorry.
Is this where I'm supposed to say it's a lot of fun? I've played it a number of times.
Way to make friends and influence people.
Right? Yeah. Hey, team player.
No, and I mean, we are obviously super excited about this one because this is Teotihuacan is it's a game I really enjoy, and it's a game that I think we have universally received a lot of positive.
So everybody here has gotten to see their eyes on it, but I know some of our viewers might be new to this.
Right.
What is the whole concept of the original game?
The original game has it's a mix of things, right? There's a large rondel, and when I say large, it's no.
All right.
But it's this size box, 6 times this, right?
Yeah.
So it's a large board that is out, and then there are 8 locations on there that are your worker placement spots, or rather like a rondel that you're moving around, and you have 3 workers. There are dice that you don't roll, but rather the pip on them determines how experienced they are. They're the power of that worker. In each location, after taking an action, they will increase in power, so that they can perform other powerful actions elsewhere. And then you move around, trying to make sure that you don't waste your turns. Right? You're trying to make sure that I need to collect the stone and the wood so that I can go over here and build on the pyramid. And then I'm going to probably go and collect some gold. But maybe I should stop here and acquire technology that will make the other actions more efficient. And you do this in a way that is... Not only do you have to deal with just the efficiency of that, right? But then once you play the game, now you can start to randomize the locations of the board, the technologies that are in there and everything. And you have a new puzzle each time. And I think that's where a lot of the reward comes from, right? Is that you have, even though you know how to play the game, and again, it's a game that's, when you look at it, it looks very
intimidating,
overwhelming, and intimidating,
busy and overwhelming is a really good way to put it. Yet when you actually play it, you're like, oh, it all makes sense. Now there are some little gotchas here or there in the game itself, but it's a giant rondel. And for any viewers out there that may be familiar with Tzolk'in, Tzolk'in the Mayan calendar, Teotihuacan is the spiritual successor to Tzolk'in.
Right. And I think too, just the table presence of the game when we're talking
Oh,
about it
yeah.
looking very busy. One of the things that I really enjoyed about it was the level of detail. So like the game is big, but I think it looks even busier because you can see so many small details for the pieces of the game.
Right.
Right?
There's like little, and it's all color or theme
Yes.
or whatever. But to where, and by color I mean like color commentary, like accoutrements,
And-
to where there's little. There's like a sacrificial altar where you can see blood stains, and it's totally. But it's just little
PG-13.
touches like that,
Right. Right.
Well, and at the same time, the thing that I like about it is that as big and busy as the board might look, when you actually look at each of the action spaces, they're clear and easy to understand. You know what you're doing.
Yeah.
It tells you what. I mean, you don't have to every time that you bring this out, or you don't have to relearn it's consistent that way, right? And that was the thing. I think a lot of people would probably be afraid that, okay, if we have a game that is intimidating when you look at it, what's the expansion going to be like? And of course this, I mean, there's more in the rulebook when it comes to how you set it up. Okay, take these pieces and set them here, than the actual rules that this adds.
And wow, I'm
There's-
gonna sound like such a shill on this, and I hate it, but this is the best kind of expansion in my experience because of the fact that the rules overhead is extraordinarily low.
Okay.
If you
Yep.
know the base game, it takes very little time to go over
up the
each of the
expansion.
modules, and it's all modular. So if you want to play with this piece, play with this piece. You want to play with that one, do. You don't. And it's each one requires minimal,
Yeah.
a minute to learn how to add it to the game, and it's really, really simple
So
in that regard.
What are the modules that we're adding to the game with the expansion?
So we have so there are a total of 5 different ones. So let's look at these real quick.
And
here.
I think this is the most important one. If I have my druthers as far as
You can
personal
have
favorite.
You can have your favorites.
Thank you. All right, it's not my game. I'm allowed, right?
Yeah. That as long as you do some pronunciation here for us.
Oh no.
Listen-
All you.
Oh no, you
All
have
you,
the
brother.
game.
So there are a total of 16 priests and priestesses.
Okay.
10 of them that are used in the competitive game, and then 6 of them that are that you can use also in solo play. And basically, what they do is they're player powers. If it's a more significant player power, then you're going to also have some drawbacks that come with it. Whereas some of the ones that are more situational or maybe not as powerful as others, you don't have a drawback. You just have now a power that you can use.
Okay.
And some of them are really nice in that they might give you. Let's take this one here for example. The cocoa is one of the really important economies in the
Right.
game. This one here, you just pay 1 cocoa every time that you perform an action. You don't have to worry about how many other workers are there, how busy that spot is.
Steal this.
The downside is you always pay 1 cocoa, even if no one else was on the board.
So where it'd normally be free, nope, not now. Now you got to pay
Now you
for
got
it. Right.
And then there are other ones, like this one, for example, which is, again, this is a super straightforward example of every time that you score a victory point, you score an additional victory point.
Oh, that's
The
nice.
downside is you need, because you now have skilled workers, you need to pay them more each eclipse, each scoring.
That makes sense.
Yeah. The next one adds a sideboard, which adds a new temple to the game, which is also going to then come with an additional action board. So this board was without the sidebar; it's already in the game.
Okay.
But then this adds a sidebar for the orange temple. In the orange temple now you have a 4th temple that you can progress on, and it's much more challenging because you have fewer options to progress on this one. But the benefits that you can get from it, every time that you move past one of these spots with the dots on it, you now get to put a marker, much like the technologies, and have a permanent benefit that you can use for the rest of the game. So it's a challenge to move up on it, but well worth the time
rewards.
and effort. Yes. Then we have seasons, and there are 8 different tiles in the game, and these are going to take effect. So that there are 3 eclipses, 3 scorings during the game, and one of these would be from the beginning to the game till the first eclipse, and then you change it out for the next one and so forth.
Okay.
And they just change little things, like for example
little
this one.
things. They can be little things.
Like this one. This one is fairly straightforward. Every time that you move up on the Avenue of the Dead, you score 2 extra victory points.
All right.
That's easy. However,
So what's your hard one, Edward?
oh, go ahead. It's the one that completely messes with your head. Normally, whenever you advance one of your workers or your dice, you're allowed to move 1 to 3 spaces. This makes you can move 2 to 4. It's important to point out you can go further, but you can't go 1. So if you were anticipating being able to plan better is the big thing, and that can really be
Right.
that can really mess you up.
Yeah.
When you're not used to it, or when you're not used to
Yeah,
it.
I mean the fact that you cannot move 1 space is
Right.
and all of a sudden it changes nothing else, but just that amount of
Changes a
just,
lot of other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know we got to hurry up, but you want to show folks the
Yeah.
little-
So then there will
I'll
also
throw 'em
be
over.
yes,
There
we
you
can
go.
put them over here.
All right. I think yellow might green screen, so let's pray that it doesn't.
And
Oh,
that is really cool. Here you go. Try that one.
I think blue.
So
Hey,
these-
there you go. It matches your shirt. There you go.
Yeah. So these are going to be markers that you get. So basically, these are instead of the discs that you would have for the markers on the temples. Now you have worshippers instead, custom cut maples
We're gonna just
for that.
put
So how many modules come in the expansion itself?
5 total.
Okay.
Yep. And all you can put them together, mix them, and stuff, and it's all. You can play with everything or just. Some of them.
Or the placement of that.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
I'm having.
So when are both of these available?
They are available now to pre-order. If you will be at Gen Con or you know someone will be at Gen Con, you can order these for 30% off
Oh wow.
right now. You can go to boardanddice.com and they will be available there, or they will be available at Gen Con and then everywhere in October.
Fantastic. And where can our viewers find out more about the news that you have upcoming?
You should follow us on social media. We are on Facebook and on Twitter. We have an Instagram feed that we are posting images and so forth. And you should also, of course, you can go to boardanddice.com to find information about how to find us on social media and through nice media partners. That
So Edward,
Yes.
where can everybody go to find your awesome shows?
Go to Google Heavy Cardboard. You'll find us. Heavy Cardboard on Twitter, heavycardboard.com, YouTube Heavy Cardboard. It's pretty simple. Heavy Cardboard, 2 words, real easy. Big elephant. So there you go.
That
appreciate
works.
it. That was-
Gentlemen, thank you so much.
thank you.
I
All right.
appreciate your time.
Thanks for having us on.
Thanks. And for everybody else at home, stay tuned for some really great live coverage to continue for Origins 2019.
Take care, y'all.
Thanks.